Hey everybody, Mike here. For today's step-by-step tutorial, I'm walking through in excruciating detail how to draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now I'm going to be drawing every turtle in every different style that I can find. I'm going to create videos for all of them, and I've created a playlist and linked that in the description below. I've also linked that playlist at the end of the video, so after you're finished watching this one, I encourage you to go watch all those videos. Now the reference image on the screen will be the turtle we're drawing today. If you know his name, put that in the comment section below. Hint, his name is in the title. So let's get into the drawing. All right, we're gonna draw Donatello from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Nickelodeon series. I'll put a picture of Donnie in the upper corner of this video so you can see the reference of what we're drawing while we're drawing it. Tools we're gonna need, we need some paper, pencil. I've got a thin eraser, a fat eraser, a straight edge, and a brush to brush away the eraser shavings. Now we're gonna orient our paper vertically, and we're gonna start by drawing a loose skeleton of the character so you can see where everything is, and it helps us lay it out on the page. So I'm gonna start in the upper center of the page, and we're gonna draw a circle to represent Donnie's head. And when we get to about middle of the page, we're gonna draw a hip box to represent the bottom of his torso, the hip area. Now we're gonna draw a line from the side of the box down, and this represents his left leg. I'm going to draw a little curve here to represent his eye line. Now this is a side view of his head, and he does have a little snout that kind of sticks out, so we're going to draw a little curve line here. And then when we get to about the middle of between the eye line and the bottom of the circle, I'm going to just draw a little line to represent his mouth, like that. Okay. We're going to fill out his neck. And now we're going to draw his left arm. And we're going to start with the shoulder. Off of the neck, we're going to curve a line down. And right about at this point of our torso, we're going to draw a circle to represent his shoulder. Now I'm going to just draw a guide line for his arm. So we're going to draw a curved line for his bicep, kind of like this, his circle for his elbow, and his forearm here is going to come across like this. So curve a line back to the elbow here, and then his hand will just represent with a circle here. We'll be filling in that detail later. His other shoulder, you can't really see it, but we're gonna draw a little representative of it right about here at the other point on the upper torso here. And this arm comes off to the side and bends upward. So we're gonna take a line from that circle, draw it out to the right, almost straight, but curve it up. A little circle for the elbow, and the forearm is gonna come up, kind of like this. And then we have his hand is in the reverse position, kind of facing, because he's holding his bow staff. And that's what you wanna do. Now I'm gonna use the straight edge to kind of draw a guide between these two, because that's where the staff is gonna go. I'm not gonna draw it through the body, so I will pause it when I get to the arm and continue it up here. This line will help me keep the hands in the right position so they can hold the staff once I get to that point. I'm even going to extend this line here. Now all our lines at this point are loose and sketchy because we're going to be erasing a lot of these initial guidelines that we're drawing. So let's look at the shell now. The shell is basically an oval, and it's kind of on an angle. So we're going to start up here and draw an oval shape that goes across the back. It goes down past the waist and curves back up. We'll go back to the top and cover the right shoulder. It's going to bump out a little more on the right side. Now that I have this here, I'm going to erase, but not fully make it disappear, the guides that are covered by the shell. Fat eraser is good for this. Now let's go back to the head. As I'm finalizing the detail, as it's getting a little more final line work, the lines are getting a little darker, and the sketchy lines are going to start to get erased and or fade into the background. So I'm smoothing out the head here. I use the thin eraser to get a little more precision and precise when I'm erasing. That way I don't get rid of any of the good lines. The guide line actually is going to double as our mask. So the mask kind of comes across the face here, curves up in the front like this, and gets wider then thinner towards the back of the head here. It's a little extension here. Now let's draw the eye in. The eye is, you just see one of the eyes because it's a side view of the head. We're gonna just draw a little eye shape like that. And then he's kind of looking to the side. So just a little circle in there for the pupil. Now the dome of the head is a little higher than I've drawn here. So we're gonna erase the initial circle, bring the head up a little bit. So there's a little brow, and then it goes up towards the back. Let's get back to the shoulder. I'm actually going to drop the shoulder a little further. And from this angle on the arm, as I'm starting to erase the guidelines for the arm, you have the bicep and the tricep you see behind here. So the bicep is going to come off because his arm is flexed. The bicep's going to bump up a little higher, like that. You see a little line for the tricep on the back of the arm, like this. And then I'm going to extend a line, kind of a double line below that as the other side of the arm. Now we've got a elbow pad here. So we're going to draw a box, angle it across where the elbow would be, kind of like that, and curve a line on the bottom and curve a line on the top. Now we're going to break this up into 3 sections by doing a double line in 2 spots. Double line here, double line here. I'm going to take my thin eraser and erase at the bottom at each gap. Just put a little V in those at the bottom and a little V at the top. Make sure the V's are kind of pointing in towards where the elbow bends. And we can just take a little line and curve it across here to represent the front of the elbow where it's covering. If any lines don't look correct, go ahead and erase and redraw them. Or after you see the lines down, you might see something you want to change. It's okay to erase and redraw. Forearm. Forearms are pretty wide. These versions of the turtles, it's thinner near the elbow, but then it gets wider near the wrist. So using this as a guideline, which I'm going to erase right now, we're going to find the bend in the elbow, and a little closer to the bend of the bicep, we're going to take a curved line across and over to the bend. We're going to create a second line just a little below it to the corner, like this. And the underside of the arm is going to come off the middle of the pad and go curve back up, like this. Now, the top line is actually going to start curving back down, so it can get thinner where the wrist meets the hand, or where the forearm meets the wrist, I should say. And this line in the middle here is going to go a little further. So now the hand kind of comes off. There's a couple of wraps here. We'll just indicate those with some lines that go across and down the side as well. A little extension here. And then we have some wraps around the fingers as well. And the fingers are going to wrap around the bow staff. So they'll kind of come down like this. And I'm going to draw them now, but we'll erase them when we get the bow in there. And you do see the thumb. So there's going to be a little bump out down here representing the thumb. Now at the top of this is the left finger. Turtles only have 2 fingers on their hands and a thumb. There's some wraps around the fingers. So I'm just going to draw a couple of lines across, bend it down there like that. Okay, so that is the head, the neck, the left arm. Now let's get back to the shell. The shell goes around the back, like in this oval shape, and then right around at the top, throwing pencils all over the place. Right at the top here, it's going to kind of curve out. And I'm going to turn the paper so I can get a better control of the pencil and curve it out a little bit. It's going to bump out right about in the middle of the back here. It's going to bump out the most. So I'm going to go fix this circle here. Link it to the bottom. It's going to curve back up. It gets thinner at the bottom, and then it curves back up like this. I like this view because you can see more of the back, more of the shell. Very rarely, unless you're drawing them completely from the back, you get to see the shell design. So this is kind of a cool one. So the next thing I want to do is I want to draw some of the space from the chest plate that you can see in the gap here. So there's, the left arm is here, the edge of the shell is here, and then you will see right about here some of the front of the chest plate. It goes down. It actually comes down and it kind of bends in before it meets the gap where the leg comes out of the shell. So we're going to draw that in, and then I'm going to actually put a double line here. I'm going to curve it into the bend here and then take it down. And then there is actually a little section where the legs kind of come out between the shells. So there is a space here. Just draw a line here to represent the area in the gap. Come through, and then you see a little bit of the chest plate up in the front. And this even comes down a little further than I drew it, so I'm just going to redraw that. Curves up close to the shell, and then curves back up to the head like this. Makes it look like there's a little more extension to the neck. Let's do the left leg, and then we'll go on to the shell, and then we'll do the right arm and the left leg. So right as it comes at the bottom here, the leg's going to come out, and we're going to follow our guideline for the thigh, bump it out. And right here at the bottom of the shell, it's going to come out straight and curve back in towards the knee. This is our representative of the knee. And the knee pads kind of wrap around the knee. So you see the back of the knee. So I'm going to curve a line down And now I'm going to erase the guideline for the leg. Then it does wrap around, as I mentioned. But before we do the wrap, I'm going to do the calf and the foot. So if this curves down like this, the calf is going to come out wide, kind of reach a point in the middle of this leg, and then curve back to the circle. And then I'm going to draw a line back in for the foot. So I'm going to erase the guideline for the leg now and where our foot was going to be. And if I'm curving the line down, I've got my knee pads again, which are going to come down to about here. I'm just going to sketch that in real quick. Curve a line down, come back in, and it's going to wrap like this and go up. A couple of lines here to represent the straps that connect the wrap to the pad. And now we're going to take a line down to be the shin of the leg. It's going to go wide, and it gets wider as you go to the bottom, and it's going to come to a toe, kind of widen out even further. And then I'm going to take a line straight down and curve a line for the foot. Feet on these turtles are really weird, but it just seems so massive, especially for ninjas. Now he does have wraps on this foot as well, so I'm going to just expose the toes here, take a line up for the toe, and then bring it back to a point here like this. And then I'm going to draw a guideline kind of around here, just mimicking the curve of the foot to kind of represent the edge of the foot. And now we'll just draw some wraps. So right about mid shin, I'm just gonna curve a wrap around the leg here. So that's the top. And you can just draw some curved lines that wrap around the leg here. So that'll be the wraps for this one. Let's finish this knee pad, and then this leg will pretty much be done. So I'm gonna thicken the wrap around the back of the knee here. So it looks like there's a thickness around the skin, like that. Curve it down, curve, V, take up, and then cross like that. And then we'll just do a couple of little straps. And that is the leg wrap for the knee pad. Okay, so a thin leg gets wider as you go to the bottom. Now let's draw the shell. So the shell has like an outer ring, and then there is a ring for the edge. So we're gonna draw another line that kind of curves around and matches the outline of the shell. It's gonna be wider on the left side of the shell here. And then as it goes back up around, it's gonna come to the edge here. So it never goes all the way around because the other side of the edge of the shell is hidden behind. So it kind of bumps out like that, and then it curves around. Okay, so now you got this other ring around the shell. Now the typical design of the turtle shell is 2 hexagons and then the lines that go to the edges. So they're going to be wide hexagons. So because the center of the back is, just draw a guideline here. This is kind of the center of the shell, curving around. You don't have to draw this line. This is just to show you and illustrate where it is. Very lightly, I'm just drawing this in. So right about here, I'm going to draw a line across the back in a little curved line across the back. It's going to come down on an angle back in to create the hexagon, and then across the back again. And because the shell is curved, I'm curving the line across the back, just like that. Some of this is going to get covered up with the straps that run around Donnie's back. But we're going to do the same thing down here. Angle a line down, angle it back, and then curve a line. Now, because I'm at the bottom of the shell, I'm going to curve it back up. So curve down and then back up. And what I want to do is I want to give these lines some depth. So I'm going to make them double lines. At the corners, because we're going to extend those lines, do not connect them. Just leave a little gap and draw a double line everywhere there's an intersection. For the middle here, just draw it across. Okay, I'm gonna erase the guideline now from the center line of the back. Now we're gonna take all of these lines up. They're just gonna go straight out to the edge. This one you can actually connect because there's no line here. And remember that the shell is curved, so these lines are all gonna be curving around the shell. And then down here, angling it out this way. So that's the shell design. And everywhere around the perimeter of the shell, we're gonna just put a little V, kind of a little notch out. I drew these lines too thick, so I'm going to redraw them thinner, just following where they're putting them on the reference image. If you want to give them a little thickness, you can just kind of double line it there. One about here. Precision eraser really comes in handy here because you've got a really thin tip. Let's do one here, one here, one here, and I think that should be enough. And if you want to, and I think I'm going to make even the circle a double line. just to give it a little thickness, a little depth, like it's cutting into the shell. It's not just a line on the surface. Still have to draw the left leg, or the right leg, and the right arm. Let's go down to the leg. Using our guideline, I'm going to curve a line for the back of the thigh, like this, and the front of the leg, the front of the thigh here. Again, we have another knee pad here, so I'm just going to curve a line around like this. Everybody draws at their own speed, and as you're following along, if this is going too fast and you need to stop and erase or change anything, feel free to stop the video, pause it, and then catch up, and then come back to it. Okay, just to kind of rough that in real quick. Now this leg is not as far down, just based on the pose. This leg is in the background and it's a little further away. The calf is angled a little more towards the camera as well, so you see it more directly. So we're just going to bump out a line here. Now the foot still gets wider, but it's just at a different angle. So we're going to draw the calf here, and then the feet get wide as you go along here. And you see the foot mostly from the back. You don't even see any of the toes. So using the circle we drew at the beginning to kind of represent where the foot was hitting the ground, I'm just going to curve a line around and angle it back like this. And then erase all of the guidelines for this foot. I think we don't need them anymore. The fat eraser is also good for erasing any smudges that occur while you're drawing, because they can erase a big area. Show a line that just curves up, and then the shin, back of the foot, and we've got the wraps that are going to kind of start a little lower here. So I'm going to wrap around the back of the foot. Curves down and comes to a curved bottom as well. And you don't really see toes, but I'm going to just start wrapping around the back of the heel. And then we'll draw a little guideline just to represent the edge of the foot, which is a little flatter in this version. Okay, so that is, I'm just going to draw a little line here just to represent muscle tone. Okay, so now we got both legs, left arm, shell, head, chest plate. Let's do the right arm. Shoulder comes up a little bit higher because he's lifting his arm up. So we're going to do his shoulder here, a little curve off the back of the shell. Bicep is up, again, following the guideline of the arm. Think of this as the bone of the arm. Bicep is bent up, so it's going to stick out a little higher. Back of the tricep comes around like this to the elbow pad. I'm going to erase the guideline for the arm. Elbow pads are a little more in around the edge here. So we'll curve a line up to represent the pad. It's going to stick up, and we're just going to take it around like this. Okay, now the forearm, you're going to see it come, again, this representing our hand. Forearm gets wider and thinner. It's wider at the wrist and thinner at the elbow. So this side, we're going to take it down like this. Get rid of the guideline, and get rid of the circle for the hand as well. So now I'm going to just draw a wrap around to represent where the wrist is off the side of the hand. The thumb curls up, and it's going to curl back like this. The side of the hand is going to come up here. Now, we will draw the bow staff in a minute, but let's get the fingers where they need to be to wrap around it. Again, 2 fingers. The left finger is going to curve up and over, and the right finger is a little higher, but also wraps up. So now the bow staff, what originally was our guideline that we drew, is going to change a little bit. This straight edge is a little too short, so I'm going to get a different one. So the bow staff is going to go in between the crook of this finger bending and in between these fingers. So we'll draw the top of it. And then the bottom of it is going to be just below that. All right, so now that we have the bow staff in there, we're going to erase anything that it should be covering. So it's going to cover this finger. And I use that to just guide, but I want it to be a little more rougher of a wood. So I don't want it to be so straight and hard of a line. So I'm going to wrap this finger around. You'll see this finger here. This end of the staff. I'm going to put a little grain in it. Again, making the lines a little rougher, not so straight. There is some fabric wraps on it, so I'm going to just show that. It goes across the chest. Now it's going to cover this part of the hand. Fingers wrap it. You should see some wraps on these fingers. And then it comes up at the top and curves at the top. And again, some wood grain in there, just to add a little detail. And then there's also some fabric wraps on this hand, so just adding that detail. All right, two things to finish up the drawing with. One, the streamers that come off the back of the mask. Just gonna curve some lines down, kind of in an S shape. That's one. You only really see one here, but I'll make the other one go down in the front so you don't really see it. Okay, so that's gonna curve there. Do a little cleanup. Now let's do the wraps on the back. This is what he uses to hold the staff. One's gonna come over the shoulder, kind of angle down like this. So we're gonna wrap, well, let's do the waist first. One's gonna come from the front and wrap around. And it's pretty wide. We're gonna wrap the line from here. Now it's gonna curve around the shell. So it's gonna go up once it hits the line. So we'll do the bottom first and wrap it around the shell. And then this one will wrap the shell as well. We'll erase everything in between that's gonna cover. And then when it gets to the back of the shell, it's gonna be a little thicker than the shell itself. So it's gonna extend out. Last thing to draw is the wrap around the back of the, kind of comes at an angle. So this one's gonna wrap from the top right shoulder. It's gonna go wide and wrap and curve down right about here. And we're gonna start thin at the top and do the same thing with the second line. And it's gonna go like that. You can even make it a little wider at the bottom. Okay, now we're gonna just erase what's in between. So here is the final pencil drawing of our turtle hero. I've actually gone back and cleaned up a couple of the lines and erased some things and changed some things. So here's the final drawing. Now I'm also gonna do a Posca marker color short. I'm gonna put that in the comment section and pin it to the top. If you have a second, go ahead and check that out. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, comment on the video, and if you're dying to watch more how to draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle videos, I've got a playlist right here. Check it out.